Right leaders from across the country met with President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris to discuss issues affecting the black community, racial equality, social justice, and diversity. And we got the one and only, one of our mentors who we absolutely love, Reverend Sharpton, founder and president of the National Action Network, was part of that meeting, and he's here to tell us the details. Good morning, Reverend Al.
Good morning. Good morning, Rickey.
Yes, sir. Good talking to you again. I just saw you on Morning Joe. That's crazy. Well, Reverend, how did the meeting go yesterday, and what you say was the biggest takeaway from your meeting with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris on yesterday?
Well, I think that the meeting was very candid, very blunt. There were 7 of us that lead national civil rights organizations, me from National Action Network, Mark Morial, Urban League, and on, Derek Johnson from NAACP. And we said that we want to make sure that promises made will be promises kept. Joe Biden said the night that he was announced to have won that the African-American community had his back. Well, we want to make sure that you said what you meant, that you said you'd have our back now. Who is going to be Attorney General? What is going to be coming out of the Justice Department? In this era of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery, we need an Attorney General that is sensitive to police reform, that is sensitive to racial bias, and has a track record, as well as protecting voting rights and dealing with these voter intimidation schemes and other things. So my part was he laid heavy on the Attorney General. I'd like to see a black, but the least they must have is a civil rights background. We talked about other positions on the cabinet, but we really wanted him to reaffirm his commitment that he understood that we're dealing with systemic racism, and we expect him, since we helped put him there, to do what he said. Vice President-elect Kamala Harris also was there, made that commitment. It was scheduled for an hour. We went almost 2 hours.
What?
He promised to keep meeting with us, so I thought it was good.
Wow. Hey, Reverend, Al, this is Special K. Now, Joe Biden is getting pressure from both sides. Some saying he's too progressive. Some saying he's not progressive enough. In your opinion, how will the Biden administration handle those issues that matter to us, like you were just speaking on, like defunding the police and everything, when there's so much opposition coming from other communities?
I think that they are going to, in some ways, have to stand up to those that are opposed to some police reform. It may not be, the slogan defunding police doesn't interpret what they're saying. We're talking about putting resources into mental health and into dealing with diffusing a lot of these police confrontations and making the police accountable. And they're going to have to stand up to those communities that are against it. And in other areas, they're going to tell us we're doing this for these reasons. I told Joe Biden for 8 years, when we sat in the room, same organizations in many ways, dealing with Barack Obama as president. He was vice president. There were times we agreed and disagreed, and Joe Biden was in the room. Now we have to deal the same way. We adults, we understand we're not going to get everything we want, but we expect to get much of what was promised, and we're going to stay on his back on that. And let me be clear, I emphasize him, he has a double problem of not only delivering what we need as a community, he's got to dig us out of the mess of the most racist administration we've seen in our lifetime. So not only do you have to do, you have to undo. The fact is that Trump undid consent decrees that had the federal government overseeing some of these police departments. Trump undid a lot of public education and put it into private schools, on and on and on. You got to reverse a lot of stuff Trump did even before you get started on what Biden and Harris is going to do.
Right. Now the Democrats are losing working class whites and Latinos on policies surrounding religion and social issues. And the Democrats need more than just the black vote to create true change. And Trump has changed the face of the Republican Party. Now, how do you see the Democratic Party changing over the next few years?
I think they're going to try and expand. If anything, the Biden-Harris vote showed us that they could get into the suburban white that was totally against them in 16. And I think that part of why they had lost the suburban white vote and regained a lot of it this time is because suburban whites were losing their life over the pandemic that has been mishandled by Donald Trump. Let's not forget, it is a matter of record that Trump was told in January of this year that a pandemic could come and undermine the health of all of this country. And he ignored it and lied to us all the way through March. So a lot of people that were with him before have said, no, I can't go there again. Look, take, for example, in Georgia. Biden won Georgia, even though the Republican senators didn't get 50%, they still got more collectively than their opposing Democrats, which meant that some people voted against Trump and still voted Republican.
Right.
What the Democrats must do is they must be able to convince those in the suburbs that we are your best choice, but they cannot do. That's why the meeting yesterday was important. They cannot do it at the sacrifice of those that have stayed with us and stayed with them and put them in position. You don't go for the people across the street by betraying the people in your own house. Expand your relationship, but don't betray those that were with you when nobody was.
Wow. Reverend Al, thank you so much, man. I hope that the Biden administration is able to govern. That's why we need those 2 Senate seats, in Georgia. And I also, Mitch McConnell is just an obstructionist. And I swear, I hope and pray that he lose majority, because if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. Reverend Al, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can people go to get more details on this meeting yesterday with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris?
Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net. And I'm always glad to be with you, Rickey. You're right. I was on Morning Joe. I told him I had something important to do. I got to do Rickey Smiley. I can't talk to y'all all morning.
I'm sitting right here watching you two. I said, man, how he going to do both shows? I'm like, don't he supposed to be on?
I know where my priorities lie. I got on off there and come on and talk to the folks.